I've been out spending my hard-earned again. Proto 2000, GP30, but it's a bit of a project. Working but severe. Let's have a look at it. I do like the project, but let's have a look. Working but severe rattle from bogies, suspect gears and driving wheels. Right, okay. Well, I've got all the original paperwork, which is nice. And it's a GP30 in nickel plate livery. I'll remove those bits of foam. And out she comes. Rather nice. Very clean looking locomotive. Obviously second hand, obviously being used, but yeah. Very clean. Now I did notice there are a couple of bits missing. I think they've just come unglued, and they're in the packet there, so I can tack those on again. But again, because this is a Proto 2000, I would imagine there's an issue with the gears. It's a classic issue with these locos. I'm hoping that's all that's wrong, but you never know. Right, we'll have a look and see what can be done. I'll give her a run and let you see what it's doing. So let's try going forwards a bit. And I'll bring her back. Right, so that is the classic thump, 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 thump of the split gear syndrome. I'm not going to run back and forwards too much because I might end up damaging the other gears in the gear chain. So what I suspect is that the gears on the primary driving axles, the ones that sit on the track, at least some of them are split. So what I'm going to do is swap them out for some known good ones from another locomotive that I've got, and we'll see if that improves the running. Following that, if that proves the diagnosis of the fault, and I'm 90% sure that's what's happening, then I'll try and repair the split gears. So, back in a moment. So let's start by taking off the wheels, or taking the wheels out of this unit. And the way I like to do that is to push a little screwdriver in there and release the catches. There are two little catches just in there on either side, and there are two at the front of each bogie and two at the rear. And I'm not doing this one very well. What's going on? There we go. It is important to be gentle with these because they can snap very easily. I've not snapped one yet. Oh, and of course they have a habit of pinging away across the room. There, got that one. Right, so here we have the wheels, and if I can get a small pair of forceps, just lift them out. And let them run across the desk. These normally come out quite easily. There we go. Right, so let's have a look at them. I'll put that down gently so as not to smash anything. See a crack anywhere? I don't know if I could focus. But what I can tell you is I could rotate those wheels independently, so that gear has cracked. And the escapee. That one rotates very easily, that one's cracked. 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 Right, okay. I'll try and get a better image of this later using the microscope, but basically what happens with these is you tend to get a longitudinal crack along what just a single crack along the axis of the axle. Right, so let me go and find the bit that fell on the floor, and then I'll borrow some axles from a working loco. Back in a second. And something I should have said earlier, although I'm using a screwdriver to take this cover off, it is actually better to go in at the side here, although I prefer to go in at the top and then pull. In this case I'm pulling downwards. Now the reason I'm doing that with a narrow screwdriver is there's actually a gear sits under here, and what I don't want to do is shove that into the middle here, in about there, because that's where the gear is. I don't want to damage the gears. All that I'm doing is pushing that side out in one direction or the other, and I'm not ramming the screwdriver in. It's important not to do that. Right, end of sermon. Right, so next I've removed the wheels from this donor, and you can see over there at the way, and these are the ones from the original nickel plate loco, and these are the ones from the donor. So I'll just drop these into place. I always find they sometimes go in and they sometimes don't. Depends on how you line up the little bronze bushes. Right, I'll get them lined up and I'll get them inserted, and I'll put the covers on. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so wheel sets have been switched over, and I'll give her another run, and we'll see what happens. . we go, much smoother. Now she's still making a bit of a whirring noise. But of course I've only just swapped the wheel sets. I haven't cleaned or lubricated her. Haven't done any other servicing. And that reminds me, I need to clean and lubricate the gears on the other the donor F3A loco, because they were a bit dry. Right, so next step, I'm going to put these wheels back in the F3A and put it away, and I'll clean and lube it later. This one, the nickel plate what is it? The GP30. I'll take the wheels and see if I can fix those gears. Right, back in a second. Okay, so they've come at last. So I'm hoping these are going to do the job. I must confess the packaging on these is a bit of an overkill, because they're not exactly fragile. What do we have? We have a really tough bag. Two very tough bags. Right, and finally, here we have the replacement gears. As I say, I'm hoping these will fit. It's interesting, they've got a almost little castellation on the end of the right, so the next thing will be to see if I can get those to fit onto the axles. I'm sure that'll be fun. So here we have a close-up of the gear that's felled, and if I rotate it round a bit, there we can see the crack. That's a classic case of the cracked gear for these locos. And here is the replacement from Aliexpress. You'll notice it's got what I thought were castellations on one end. It appears to be just a manufacturing fault. I wonder, are these rejects from somewhere? Also, there seems to be a bit of flash in the middle, and I had to clean it out just to get the axle in there with a thin drill. No more than a couple of strokes. Don't go overdoing it. Okay, so here's the finished item. After a lot of swearing, I managed to get the gears in place. It took me ages to get the them so that the gear was central and that the bronze bearings rotated freely, and yet I still had the back-to-back within tolerances. I think if I were doing it again, because it's asymmetrical, I would have cut off this piece. I cut a piece off this end. But there we are. I've got the gear in place. I've done all four, so I'll fit them and see how it goes. And finally, she's still a bit purry, but the thump has gone. Remember, I haven't done anything else to the gears, so I'll need to go in and give it a proper service. But she's running smoothly. I scared myself, I have to admit, because when I first put her on the test track, I went to test her after I'd done all this work. It wouldn't move. Nothing would move. But of course, that didn't help. Oh well. So there we have it. Nickel plate road GP30. Beautiful locomotive. And now restored to running order. I'll glue those parts back on, and give it a proper service, a clean up and a lube. Well, it doesn't need a clean up, it just needs a lubrication. And I'll clean up and lube that FA3 that I used earlier in the video. Right, so that's another project down. I've got a couple more projects in the post, so we'll see how those go. Again, thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next video. All the best. Bye.